right, welcome everyone to day two of our incredible workshop with Keaton Walker. I've got a ton of people here in the lobby that are getting ready to jump into our Zoom. If you're watching this in any of our channels out there in on social media with High Level, feel free to jump into the Zoom session. There's a link there. You can jump in. We'll do Q&As and things like that. Guys and gals, we have so much to cover and so much to go through. We are doing a workshop around how to build a course inside of High Level, then launch it and build a community around it. This is a amazing, fantastic topic that we came up with, Keaton and I. Man, we've been working at this for maybe a couple of weeks now. But for those of you that don't know Keaton, can you do a reintroduction? I know I've met you in person a couple of times. I know your resume, some of the work that you've done in the digital marketing world. Welcome back, man.
Thanks, man. Yeah. Started out in my family business doing marketing for them and then transitioned into my own agency with in the dental space, orthodontics specifically. And that was a ton of fun. Ended up partnering up with somebody. We grew that. Took us about 3.5 years. And then we're at the point where we decided to sell. There was another agency that approached us, and that sale took place about 13 months ago. And now I've been full-time coach and consultant since then.
I love
And
it.
I sorry.
No, I'm saying it's an incredible journey. Keep going. Tell us more.
Thanks, man. No. I yesterday I forgot to say the most exciting thing about my life is I just had a baby like 4 months ago. So, um, you know, that's been a ton of fun and a huge learning curve. But that's kind of what's going on personally.
Matter of fact, I think I saw a video or a stream that you did with your baby. It was pretty cool to see.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, he's totally in dad mode. But
Yeah.
thanks for that quick intro. Those of you that are watching, the Zoom chat inside of the Zoom room is intentionally turned off by design, and there is a link in the Zoom chat for our Facebook page streaming. We're live on almost all channels right now. And I want you to interact with us in the Facebook streaming, in the Facebook page. It helps me stay organized with all the comments, questions, and things like that. Those of you that signed up for the trial will provide you details on how to get all the goodies and stuff like that. But either way, one of the things that I want you all to do is make sure you tell us where you're checking in from, what city, what state. Maybe if you're international, tell us what region you're from. And it's a great way to network and connect with fellow high levelers. And we often hear about lunch pop-up groups, happy hours, dinners, and weekend meetups across the US and Canada, often from a lot of these live events as well. So, Keaton, if you don't mind, I see a lot of new faces. Again, in the comments, tell us if today is the first day for you, and you might have missed yesterday. I see a lot of new faces. But Keaton, can you give us a overview of yesterday? Like this, if I had final exam today, I need the Spark Notes so I have a
Yeah.
chance.
I want to ask if I can as well. What would help me yesterday? I was having trouble seeing the comments, but I haven't pulled up today. If you
Okay,
can say
awesome.
kind of where you're at or why you're here today, like, hey, I have a coaching business. I want to take it to the next level. I'm thinking about launching it. I'm thinking about putting it, as part of my SaaS or my agency. I want to add some coaching aspect to it. And generally what niche you're in. I know that's a lot to put in the chat, but as I read through, I'll be able to give more relevant examples. So that would be awesome. Um, cool. Yeah. And let's do a recap of yesterday. Let me pull it up. I think you got to give me screen sharing, Olson.
Oh yeah, that's probably a good idea. Make you a co-host. How about that? How about that? I think it
Beautiful.
works. Okay, cool.
Beautiful. So the main thing we went over yesterday, sorry, slideshow here, um, were these three things. So an easy yes offer. How do we get an offer that's just a no-brainer for someone to say yes to immediately as they see it? Pricing strategy, which is choosing a model, and the world's simplest email launch strategy, which is how do we just go get this to the market as quickly as possible. And that works even if you don't have a current email list. And I think the best way to kind of recap yesterday would probably be this middle point, the choosing your model. So I'll skip to those slides. Let me get there. So these are kind of the three models that most people end up going through at some point in their coaching journey, right? So we've got a course, which would be like a small course, really low maintenance and easy to sell, but there's not a ton of deliverable on the other end. And the con there being that you're not charging that much, so you need a ton of volume, right? And there's a very specific type of person who can make this work, someone with a massive audience, basically. Otherwise, you're going to lose most of your money in marketing. The next one is kind of this guru model, which is super common, $1,000 to $10,000 one time. Typically, it's sold with a sales call. And while you do get that high cash up front, you've got to do those sales calls, which can be exhausting, or hire the sales team. And there's no recurring revenue in this one. And so we'd spend a lot of time talking about this third model, which is my favorite, and it's the easiest one to get started with, which is a hybrid. So we combine like the best of the course model, where it's easy to get started because there's a low barrier to entry, and we chunk down our pricing into weekly instead of monthly pricing. So let's say you're going to charge $1,000 a month. Instead of that, you just charge $250 a week, meaning someone can get started with you super easily. And then once they're started, you get them in with some templates and resources, and you have some group conversations and typically a one-on-one onboarding call as well. And the benefit of this model is there's recurring revenue, you have the most leverage, and again, you don't have to spend months building a course that's completely comprehensive. You can actually just get started tomorrow because the focus is on access to you instead of, having to have a million resources, like I mentioned. So we talked about the pros and cons of these, and actually getting those to market with this email launch strategy, which is basically just saying, hey, I have a limited number of spots that I'm selling in whatever program I have. I'd love to get you guys in. It's closing on this date. And that's literally the launch strategy. You just use some urgency and scarcity and create a little bit of a plan for somebody to go through and get your beta test out there for those first few sales and first few client experiences, so that you can figure out what you're doing and you can get some great testimonials for when you really go to market.
I love that. So, what are we going to learn today? Help us understand day two. I know it's a lot of tech heavy items as well. And Keaton, you do a great job of being very thorough with a lot of your tech teachings. And you're a bit soft spoken as well. So, I'm going to try to re energize you here. But when you get into the nitty gritty of the snapshots and the
Yeah.
campaigns and automations, the focus is, making sure these things are working. So I totally understand. So
Yeah.
give us an overview of day two and what we can expect for today.
Yeah. So we're going to be discussing some really important marketing foundations. So if you're not here for the tech, don't hop off just yet, because this first, 15 minutes or so is going to be really, really, like, for me, this is some of the most life-changing stuff that we're talking about. So hang on there. And if you're bored with the tech, you can leave after. Um, but we are going to be covering, when it comes to the tech, exactly how to deploy your first community, your first course, and your first automations that you need as a coach. And so if you want to grab the snapshot we're going to be walking through, which, if you don't know, a snapshot is preloaded with everything you need and everything we're going to be going over. So it gets you 80% of the way there so that you can do the last 20%. That's going to be in the chat, the link for that. And all you have to do is sign up for a 30-day free trial or upgrade your existing HighLevel account to get that snapshot that we'll be going over today. Anything else you want to add to that, Paulson?
No, I say we get right into it.
Love it. Okay, so marketing foundations, identity. When it comes to coaching, we have to be leaders, right? And the issue is that people want to grow, And this quote here: "People are begging to be led, but a lot of coaches don't know where they're leading people specifically, and they don't know the people that you're trying to lead and trying to get to buy from you. They're not sure what to grow into. They know they want to level up, but sometimes they need someone to tell them what that is. And so that's where this second point comes in. You need to give them an identity they can latch onto as their ideal. You think about the most powerful brands in the world, they do this. Apple, the famous Apple ad where the guy is rebelling against the PC. Like the guy that has the PC is super nerdy, and the guy that has the Mac is like the trendy, cool guy. That's an identity. Like, I'm not the weird PC guy, I'm the cool Mac guy. HighLevel does this as well. SaaSpreneur, they get you to identify with being somebody that runs a software company, and they talk about why SaaSpreneurs are different than traditional agency owners. That's a really powerful identity that they're able to breathe into their marketing, which then compels us as the buyers to use their software and to get into their world, right? So again, the most powerful brands in the world do this. And as a coach, it's very simple to deploy this, but a lot of people forget it. And so here's an example. My whole branding is around the dominator. So I had a course called Agency Dominance. That was like my first one. The whole idea behind that was that we had dominated a niche where, to the point where everyone in that niche had seen my face multiple times a day for like 3 years straight. So we just kept running ads. We kept doing emails, right? And so when I started my coaching program, I leaned into that. Like, I don't want to just help people pick a niche. I want them to dominate that niche. I want them to become the agency of choice there, right? So same thing for you. You want to become the coach of choice. When people think, I need to heal my gut, or, I need help with my marriage, you are the coach that they think of. That's the ideal we're going for here. And so this was kind of my first attempt at this identity, right? 6 dominator mantras: innovation over imitation, substance over show business, focus over frenzy, efficiency over excess, purpose over popularity, clarity over compliance. This is the way. So this is me uh, showing what I stand for and what I rebel against. And if you just read these first words: innovation, substance, focus, efficiency, purpose, clarity, that's exactly what I want to attract to me in terms of the people who I'm working with. And therefore, that's what I need to be putting out into the world, right? So
Yeah,
here's another example. Sorry, go
and
ahead.
I think we see this often, right? People that's a leader of or a coach in of a community, they create cultures that they can in a way attract a ecosystem with, right? Like it's a certain thing everybody stands for. And I think it's really important because it's one thing to just get a bunch of people in a space or a corner of the internet, but it's another to create like a movement of some kind that everybody
Yep.
stands for. And from a marketer standpoint, it's like you have to pick a canvas, you guys. Like you have to pick a canvas of controversy. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Zoom's
Wow.
going off. Zoom's going
Okay.
off, right? There's controversy. There's, people that do, funny stuff. Like comedy is like they're always just the trollers of the internet, right? And there's folks that are inspirational when you think of like the David Goggins. And then there's people that are academic who, when you think of like, in a sense that are teachers of a certain content, like the Dan Kennedys, he's academic, right? So these are different canvases that you all have to choose as a coach. And I think, in the world of HighLevel, we have created this culture that, you know, it's a cool techie person who knows marketing, right? It's like this advanced techie person who handles marketing for you, which checks off multiple boxes for all parties. Or the SaaSpreneur thing, like you said, is a software entrepreneur that's focused on, you know, building a book of business that they can flip or will have low churn. It's not the agency owner, right? So those cultural things, I think it's a really big component, and I love what you're saying here.
Yeah, I think this next example will really bring that home. So this is an exercise I did while I was preparing for this. So I compared like my person is the dominator, right? So I said, what's the opposite of that? The doubter, the person who doesn't dominate their market because they're too busy doubting and worrying. And so I listed all the things that the doubter does and all the things that the dominator does. So the doubter chases prospects, the dominator attracts whale level clients. The doubter burns the midnight oil. The dominator has harsh work hour boundaries and they don't work outside of that. The doubter has volatile revenue and the dominator has steady revenue. The doubter works with anyone. The dominator says no to the crazy people that they don't want to work with. The doubter has unlimited clients that they can serve, and the dominator caps their client number because they give a great experience to everyone that comes on board. The doubter is focused on revenue. The dominator is focused on profit. The doubter has this flowery, fancy offer that sounds kind of good, but really nobody knows what it is. The dominator has a straightforward offer that everyone understands. The doubter gives value. The dominator gives wisdom and sells value. We'll go over that one here in a second. And there's a few others here at the end you can see. But you can see how this is demonstrating the difference between what you do and what every other coach out there does. And this is a really important part of you separating yourself from that crowd and decommoditizing yourself like we talked about yesterday, becoming this category of one because you've defined what it is and then you get to create that world. So I believe it's Ogilvy or one of the like famous OG copywriters says, when you write copy, marketing words of any kind, you're building a little city of desire for your people to come live in. And that's exactly what this is. When somebody looks on this right-hand side, I want them to think that's exactly what I want. And even if maybe it's only like 80% right for them, they're seeing that I'm leading them. And instead of me not really knowing what's next, you know? And so this is the action item I have. I've got one more example here that I'll come back to, but really the action item that everybody should be thinking of here is writing out your own manifesto or set of rules for the identity in your universe. And really think about it like that. Like, think about it like the MCU, right? The Marvel Cinematic Universe. They literally took the characters and then they just wrote the story. And they decided what happened, right? And they decided who those characters were. Same thing for you. In the, let's say Paulson starting his coaching program, he's got the Paulson Cinematic Universe where he gets to decide who he is, what it stands for, what the lessons are, and what identity that he's leading people towards, right? And when I did this, I found a really helpful to, first of all, write out those, the doubter versus the dominator, like I showed, but also to kind of write my story here, right? So I said the dominance manifesto. When I started my first business, a dental agency, I never thought I would dominate anything. I just wanted to get a few freelance clients, I would tell myself. But as a freelancer, I was just a slave to my client, executing on every whim and fancy in my master's timeline. Sounds over the top, but it's true. It's not just agencies that freelance, though. Many coaches, local business owners, and online people are in this same cycle. Scrape by trying to find clients, finally close one, do everything under the sun for them to make them stay. Get asked to do more for less, repeat. After I sold my agency, I leaned into the frame of dominance with my consultancy. Why? It's the only way out of this cycle. Dominant businesses have three key characteristics. Number one, their clients come to them, not the other way around. Number two, their clients respect them and the boundaries on their product and service, including price. Number three, they are synonymous or on their way to being so with what they help with, i.e. Kleenex, Hoover, like she's the LinkedIn cold outreach guru. Like they know who you are and what you do. It pays to run a business this way, literally, and let's be real, and any other way is not really a business. This works even with a very small audience. This is the framework. Speak the truth on the internet. Your ideal clients recognize and respect it. They buy your stuff, repeat. You get paid to be yourself. So this this manifesto that I wrote was really for me. I was taking a lot of the ideas that I had in my head and I was putting them down, and then I just put that out in the world. And it's been so powerful to see how much this has leveled up the quality of clients coming my way and the interest that they have in this identity that I'm breathing out into the world. So I guarantee you everybody has something that they can write down as a version 1 of their identity. And I really encourage you to write it down, because this is going to make creating content, creating ads, creating results for your clients so much easier when you know what you stand for, and almost more importantly, what you don't stand for and what you rebel against.
Yeah, I love that. And correct me if I'm wrong, Keaton, but this allows you to develop like the tonality and the voice around your brand when it comes to
Exactly.
marketing, right? So it's like, like certain people have certain characters, certain tendencies, certain, styles of how they communicate and how they build marketing and sales around it. And that's what it all helps you kind of. So you want to do this before the launch, or this is done throughout the launch. Help us understand the timeline of this.
Yeah. So this is it's never really finished. um, because it's you always come back, and you, just like Marvel's always making another movie, you're doing the same. You're extending the timeline of your own character and the identity that that character inhabits. But you do need to, come up with a few core tenets before your marketing is going to be powerful. So can you launch without this? Absolutely. But should you? Probably not, because you need to be clear on what you stand for. And plenty of people have started without something like this and developed it along the way, which is totally fine. But I recommend at least having a version 1 of, even if it's 3 things you stand against and 3 things you stand for. Yeah, that's a beautiful place to start.
And it's very fair to change, right? Like it's
Yeah,
okay to change it later on because
exactly.
like once you get to certain levels of business, you'll change identity. Like the person you are at the $10,000 a month mark is a different person than the person that is at 50,000 a month versus 100,000 a month versus $1 million a month. Even though that's you across the board when you get to those numbers, you know, the development of who you are is typically gradually growing and progressing, and what you stand for is evolving. Therefore, everything you build out with courses, content, podcasts, teachings, that also evolves. Like even your vocab will change as you kind of
Mhm.
develop into this person. And I'm not, just so you know, we're not assuming you're going to just go create a bunch of revenue off of this. I'm just simply explaining how it's okay to evolve some of these manifestos and branding and marketing and styles and even offers. You can change your offer later on as you kind of progress and map out what's going to work best for them. So, Keaton, so what else is there on the foundation of the identity of marketing in general? Manifesto is one big thing, and what you stand for is
Mhm.
absolutely critical.
Yeah, I was just reading through some of the people and what they're doing for their marketing. So it looks like um, there's an agency that's trying to help build courses for clients. That's great. Someone that's been running an agency like me and is planning to launch. Digital agency, 25 years in multiple industries. That's awesome. Um, and tons of different niches. Very cool. And a retired adult ed teacher, taught with computer applications. Very cool. So I'll see if I can and weave some of those examples into what we're talking about next. Um, Paulson, the most common advice I hear around creating content online or marketing your business is probably, make it so valuable that people are like, how is this free? Right. And it's something that I've said myself. Um, but I'm going to go against the grain here. I'm going to tell you guys not to post value. Um, the best way to get coaching clients isn't value, it's what I call wisdom. And it doesn't matter if it's content, ads, if you're doing outreach. Value is the steps to do something. Wisdom is about where to look for a solution. So I'll give you some examples to kind of bring this home in a second. But I really Like, this is going to sound so wrong when I say it, but if you want to attract the people who can afford you and your dream clients that you'd love to work with, this cannot be ignored. When we create too much free value, people just go implement it, and then they have no reason to hire us. And it's not that there's anything wrong with that. It's just that we're here to get paid, right? Let's be honest about it. A lot of us are in this for the money. And I heard an example, like let's say I'm like a diet and eating coach, something like that. And I say, here's the 5 things you should do, or 5 things you should buy at the store that should be staples to lose weight. I'm going to be like, hey, honey, can you go buy these 5 things at the store? This person said it on Instagram, right? Like, it was a really good reel. Made a lot of sense. But am I going to remember that person? And am I going to reach out to them for more help? Probably not, because I already got it all, right? But the people I do reach out to and the people I do hire, they go a level deeper, which is this wisdom. And it's not that it's not valuable. It's just that it's illustrating where to look, and it sticks in our brains a lot deeper than value. So I'll show you what I mean here. I actually just interviewed an old student. His name's Oliver. He's in New Zealand. He's in the medical spa space. And we were talking about this concept in a podcast that'll come out soon on my YouTube channel. And so I came up with an example for him. He's been publishing content, and I was saying, hey, let's move. And he's doing this already to a really good degree, but we talked about how to take it to the next level. So an example of value for him would be steal my 10-step system to grow your medical spa. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, right? An example of wisdom would be your medical spa is struggling not because you can't get enough leads, but because you can't get enough of the right leads. This happens because you follow the traditional advice to do massive discounts, which automatically frames you as not an authority. The people with money value the quality of treatment over the price. When we applied this with Tiffany's practice, we got XYZ result. So you can see how this is an analysis, not a list. And that's another like useful way to think about this. Don't give lists, give analyses, and give case studies, things that you've looked at and said, here's the concept we've pulled out of this, right? Another example in a different niche. Let's say you're like a mobility coach. You help people when they have like tight muscles. Here's what to do to fix your hip tightness. This exercise, this thing, whatever. Again, I'm like, cool. I'm going to save this reel, and I'm going to go to the gym, and I'm going to open it when I'm at the gym, and I'm going to do it, right? I'm not going to pay that person. But instead, if I hear you're not getting the results you want fixing your tight hip muscles because you're focusing too much on stretching and not strengthening them. Actually, in XYZ study, scientists found that blank percent of people who focused on strength over mobility achieved X decrease in hip tightness. And this is why I help my clients with this. He hasn't told me what exercises to do. He's told me to focus on that. And so now there's this curiosity gap that I have to bridge. And so I reach out. And maybe he starts with selling me something small. Maybe we work with together long term. But when you demonstrate this level of expertise by giving wisdom instead of value, you get way more sales because you have to, because you're not giving it all away. Last example here, kind of in the relationship niche. 5 things I do in my marriage to stay in love. We've all seen stuff like this online. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. Instead of that, many couples feel they've lost their spark, and the common advice of do a date night weekly, get a babysitter, etc., won't work for them. They know deep down there's a bigger block that simply spending more time together won't fix. Take my clients, Amy and John, for example, and then tell the story about them. By the end of our first month together, we had found the true block, which was blank. Overcoming this problem actually meant less time together, let's say, and more intentionality with their devices. I don't know. Whatever the story was, we're actually sharing something that may go against common perception, and that's the more different we can be, the better. And it's not about being different for the sake of being different, but it's about actually having relevant insights that nobody else is putting out into the world. or very few at that matter. So
And Keaton, this
yeah,
applies whenever you're building content, or like where does this apply in the grand scheme of the launch of the
yeah,
course?
yeah. So a lot of people here, like the reason that there's so much money in the coaches coaching coaches market, right?
Never heard of it. Never heard of that one.
um, is because there's so many coaches with such deep knowledge that can really help people, but they don't know how to get the right clients, right? And if we go back to kind of what we were talking about before here, or the example here at the very beginning, it doesn't matter if it's content, it doesn't matter if it's ads, it doesn't matter if you have to do outreach to get your first few clients. We need to be providing wisdom to them to demonstrate how much we really do know, rather than just value, right? And so the first step to answer your question for anybody who doesn't have an audience and is thinking about that is to start creating content. There's people that you would be shocked by in your current socials, even if it's just all friends and family, that will see what you're posting and either know someone or be a candidate for what you're doing. And so starting there is an amazing place to do it. But then let's say you get to the point where you want to start running ads. Those ads should be insight and wisdom based, not value based. Like, hey, I'm giving away my 10 free whatever. Okay, I opted in, I gave you my email, now I have my 10 free whatever, and I'm moving on, right? Sure, I can keep following up with them, but if instead it's how I did this in this time frame, or how I helped this person achieve this in this time frame, they watch something and like, oh, this is really interesting. I need to reach out to this person for more info. And then lastly, on outreach, yeah, like think about the difference between, let's say I'm a coach and I'm trying to help people implement this model. I reach out with the same script everybody else does, like, hey, here's my 5-step system to do this. I'd love to help you implement it. If instead I say, hey, I have a system that can help you get coaching clients without getting on sales calls, that's a huge like nerve that I've hit, and a lot of people who are exhausted with sales calls, right? And so when you reach out and demonstrate that you have enough wisdom to fix that problem, like the big problem, then people start responding, no matter what medium it is.
Got it. So, what else should we know about marketing in general?
Um, I want to give a few just to really bring this home. A few other examples of what you should be pushing out and kind of um, prompts, if you will. So number one, what is everyone else wrong about and it drives you crazy? I'm sure everybody here, even our lady that was um, selling spreadsheet coaching or doing spreadsheet coaching, everybody's wrong because they approach their spreadsheets with this mindset instead of this one. And it's this simple tweak that if they did it, they would be so much better off. Talk about that. What ideas, philosophies, identities is your business built upon? That's what we talked about before. Documenting, showing behind the scenes, and showing case studies. Some of the most powerful things you can do. Here's how we help someone go from this to this. Like it's undeniable. This is what happened. Here's a screenshot, or here's the before and after of a weight loss transformation, for example. What common problems are people facing in your industry? Those three examples I just gave are kind of, the common problems frame. And then this is one of my favorites. What stories can you tell that no one else can? How I did this is more powerful than how to do this, right? So one of my most popular videos on my YouTube channel is how I made 1.5 million with HighLevel, not how to do it. Okay, that's somewhat interesting, but like how I actually did it, it's been achieved. I need to watch that. Like that's interesting to me because I'm trying to do the same thing, right? Um, and to answer your question, Paulson, like what else do we need to know about marketing in general? You need to know that if everyone listening needs to know that it doesn't matter how much you post if you don't have these elements in it. It doesn't matter if you publish 100. I heard a story about someone who published a YouTube video every single day for 2 years, and he still had like 200 subscribers. And it's because there was no wisdom, there was no nothing he was standing for. He was just publishing just to publish, right? And to me, there's nothing better than an organic audience that you've built yourself on whatever platform. So just pick the platform that you like the most, that you spend the most time on anyway, and then get good at publishing and creating on that platform, and do it with this identity in mind and with this wisdom versus value frame in mind.
Yep. Let's pause for a quick second if you don't mind, Keaton. So, how many of you out there already started building content around your program or course? Give me a yes in the chat if you have already started. Give me a yes in the chat if you feel comfortable. Like, is creating content comfortable? I remember one of the first times back in the old agency days for myself, we would shoot videos, and I laugh at it now because I feel bad for that Paulson back in the day. I would literally shave every single time in between videos because I'm like, okay, there's a little spot there. I would literally shave 3 or 4 times my facial hair just to reshoot the videos because I was so self-conscious of it. Anybody else feel like that where you're like, man, the content is never good enough. I had to reshoot it, reshoot it, reshoot it. I'm just curious of
Getting a
where
lot
you
of yeses
are.
here.
Like, and the reason is because most of us, especially in the teaching world that are in the coach environment, we all almost 90% of people fall into the perfection trap. Like, I have to have everything done right a certain way to a certain standard before I can launch. And what I often find is like, well, in reality, the third grader can teach a kindergartner. A lot of us wait till we have an MBA before we can teach a kindergartner. Where you are in your journey, if it's advanced enough, you can attract people that are in the journey before you. I am a true, like I believe that with the soul of my heart. And most people don't look at it that way. They're like, you know what, Paulson, I've got to create a certain amount of standard, a certain amount of wealth, certain amount of number of avatars, or this many plaques of this many commas. Like I don't, those are all limiting beliefs in my mind. Have you ever felt that way where you're like, you know what, I got to perfect this before I can create content or launch?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Um, and I think it's really funny because someone asked yesterday, like, how did you get your first client? I said, I was getting results for myself, and I happened to appear on a podcast where we talked about that. And then, like, literally for the next 3 years, all the coaching I did was from that one podcast that just happened to keep getting views. And people would reach out, and I would just say, cool, let's get on a call. It's $100 an hour. And then I slowly ramped up the price from there. Right. And that made the transition into like a true coaching program a lot simpler and a lot easier because I had just taken like the next comfortable step for me. And that's a concept I talk a lot to my students about. Like, if you have your comfort zone, let's say it's this circle here, don't try to go here immediately. Try to go here in terms of your comfortability, like just barely outside your comfort zone. And that's going to be a really powerful like momentum builder for you where, okay, I don't feel like I can create all this content. I'm not ready for video content yet. Great. Create text-based content. I'm not ready to talk about my other people's results. I don't have any yet. Great. Talk about your own results and just tell stories and document what you're doing, and you'll be surprised the people that come to you. I know people who have very, very small audiences, but are public about what's happening inside of their own business. And because of that, partnership opportunities, coaching opportunities on the side have come to them. And it's slowly built up to the point where it's a full-time income just from the other stuff that happened to come from documenting and publishing along the way, instead of feeling like they had to be, this full-time YouTuber just to get their first coaching client.
Got it. Awesome. So what else do we need to know about marketing before we dive into a lot of the technology stuff for today?
Yeah, that's it. That's all I had for the marketing foundations. If you
Okay.
guys wanna, I saw someone asking if the replays were available. They are. YouTube. If you go to the YouTube channel, HighLevel YouTube channel, and go to
Yeah.
replay or live, then that's where you can find those. And if you want to reference yesterday, that's a great place to find that.
All
Um,
right, cool.
but yeah,
So let's dive into some of the automations and things that I think you had kind of planned on sharing for day
yes,
two. It's important that you do have the marketing foundation that Keaton talked about, because that's the beginning of all building and creating with these automations that we're going to go into.
yeah,
How many of you learned a lot from that, or you've gotten some takeaways so far? Give me a yes in the chat, in the streaming, if you don't mind. If you've had couple of nuggets so far already around marketing, or at least maybe one. If you feel like so, give us a yes. Okay, awesome. I see a ton of
yeah,
people saying yes. All right, cool. So, if you don't mind, what are we looking at? We did a demo of HighLevel yesterday, so maybe no need to repeat that, but let's
yeah,
just go right into it.
yeah. So I'd love to hear in the chat, and maybe Paulson, you can keep me updated on some of these as they come through. What you're hoping HighLevel can do for your coaching business, and hopefully I can teach to some of those specific questions that are coming through. But I actually want to start with some simple stuff today that um, everybody should be using if they're not already. So I was talking to a friend who is a big coach in the like Amazon, selling on Amazon space, right? And his Instagram got shut down because of some, like, somebody tried to hack into him, right? And he was talking about how Instagram was kind of this like it ends up being like the place where everybody reaches out, because on YouTube you don't really have comment, or you only have comments, you don't have DMs. TikTok, they're more likely to just, a lot of people say it's popular to go, hey, DM me on Instagram, so they can build the audience there. And so what I've built is kind of the same thing, where if somebody comes to Instagram, I have this, I'll pull up my page here. I have this thing here where I say, here are the things you can join. So I've got my affiliate community, I've got the guilds, and then I've got the inner circle. And then to join, DM me this word, right? And then I've got these simple automations that say if somebody replied on an Instagram DM.
Yep. Can you go to 125 on the Zoom?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
So if somebody replies an Instagram DM and it has this word in it, so one-on-one, one-on-one, one-on-one. Some people, word it differently, so I put all three in there. Then I send them, I said, hey, thanks for reaching out. Here's the info on my one-on-one program. And I send them that, or I ask them another question, right? And what you could do here, is many coaches are doing right now, is attaching an AI bot as well that can have a conversation with them and qualify them or send them to the right thing, or whatever makes sense there. And then we just add a quick tag that says, hey, they DM'd us on Instagram, so we know where they came from, right? Same thing with customer replied. So let's say they come through another avenue, the chat widget on my website, or they email me, or they respond on Instagram. Then we're gonna just create a quick opportunity card for them inside of the pipeline, so that person never gets lost. So at the end of every day, my team's going through and looking at, okay, we've got 15 people in the lead or DM column, and we need to make sure that every single one of these gets answered. And that's all taken care of for us with this very simple automation that you see here. And then, of course, this Instagram DM one with the community name kind of does that same thing. So that's just a quick one I wanted to show everybody.
Yeah.
Before we get started, that's an immediate use case of how simple HighLevel can make things.
Yeah.
And again, if you want this snapshot, you can go to the link that's in the chat, and it has all of these other workflows we're going to go through today, and 10 funnel templates that I've personally used to sell hundreds of thousands of dollars of coaching. So
Sure. So, one thing I'll tell you, Keaton, I'm not a tech wizard, so you're going out pretty fast for me.
okay,
So I'm gonna ask you to slow down, and I'm only asking for everybody else that's never seen HighLevel before as well. So what you just showed us what
Hmm.
is what I call the front desk of business. Like
Yeah.
every building out there in most downtowns have a information desk in the front where they'll tell you where you can go to which floor, whatever. That's the way I look at something like
Mm.
this. So it's your information desk where organically, if people come to your world, whether it's Instagram or anywhere else, actually, for that matter, because we have WhatsApp, Facebook, emails, wherever, you should have some workflows that simply guides them with some sort of a resource and then a prompt to jump on a call with you or an appointment or some sort of a human interaction. Because all the automated stuff by itself won't work if there's not a
Yeah.
human attached to it. Can you go back to that real quick, the original automation that you had just showed us, and
Yeah.
you know, just so this is basically if you go to 120, if this is basically an automation that you have set up. Your front desk automation is what I'm calling it on Instagram,
Hmm.
where if somebody replies with a certain word, and you can choose your own word, whatever you want it to be, and
Hmm.
high level will pick up the different variations, which is capital letters, misspellings, all kinds of issues with it, right?
Yeah.
And what happens when somebody does reply with the one or whatever? Like what happens after that?
Yeah. So then it sends them a message and you can customize whatever that message is to the
Okay,
people. So if it's a, hey, here's the link, or hey, I need to ask you another question, you can do
okay,
that. And it just makes it really nice because we get back to that lead immediately and we can push that conversation
got it.
faster down to the towards buying without actually having to lift a finger ourselves.
Got it. And then what is this last step there?
Yeah, so this is a tag. If you sort, this becomes super useful when you're trying to, you have lots of people and you're trying to sort them by where they came from or maybe how we want to reach out back out to them. So if they reached out to us originally on Instagram, they'll probably reply on Instagram. So I could go into my contacts part of HighLevel and sort by people that have this tag so that we can use that
So,
for
so you
reaching
can just
back out, right?
market to like a certain audience that was part of a certain step, or anybody
Yeah,
that jumped into like a lead magnet versus a call. Like you can basically segment your audience using smart lists with
exactly.
tagging, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. Sorry to slow you down there, but I just want to make
No,
sure
that's a
everybody's on
really good
page.
temp check for me. I appreciate it.
Okay, cool. Someone's asking, ask him how an IG comment connects to high level. Is this connected to ManyChat or how is that done? Can we do that with comments or is this through DMs?
This is DMs right now. I know HighLevel's working on comments,
Perfect.
and I believe
Yep.
that's coming out next quarter.
This is why you're the wizard. I'm not. All right. What are we looking at here? I know these are folders,
Uh-huh.
but help us understand some of the things that we're going to learn here today.
Yeah. Any other questions in the chat about um,
We'll come back
HighLevel
to
in
the
general?
questions.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll come back because if we go
Yeah.
through answering every question, we're gonna be here till sunset.
Okay. So the main thing, like the very first thing I show anybody in HighLevel is this pipeline and then also this dashboard here. So there's no data in here because this is a dummy account. I'd show you a real account, but um, then I'd be exposing data that I don't want to, or people's names I don't want to. So what happens is once you set up this pipeline, and this is totally customizable, you could say whatever makes sense for your business. So a lead or a workshop attendee, somebody that's interested. These are all just different categories of where somebody might be inside of my pipeline. So I can just easily come here to pipelines, and I've created this main pipeline, and you've got a lead or a DM, workshop attendee, and I can add or remove any stage that I want, right?
Got it.
So these are the ones that I've chosen for this coaching snapshot because it covers most of the typical
Yeah.
sections of where coaching lead might be.
Yeah.
So once we
And
have that set up, sorry, go ahead.
no, and the idea of the pipeline in general, guys and gals, it comes from the sales world, not marketing. Okay.
Mhm.
This is the way you phase out your sales cycle into different phases, different steps. So then you can identify who is hot versus warm versus lukewarm versus cold, if that's even a word, but you get what I'm saying. So you can customize this however you want. You can add round robin agents, maybe even create like a fake contact card, Keaton, in there.
Yeah.
And then that way people see what an opportunity looks like. Let's just say 3 day, Mr. 3 day workshop. I don't know, something.
I'm in there already, so that I just
Oh,
created
perfect. Okay,
myself.
cool. All right, cool.
Um, so
All
here I
right,
am.
yeah. So you can drag and drop that lead across the pipeline and have different automations for each step of the pipeline, right?
Yeah. So let's say I'm the one that DM'd. This is
Yeah.
going to add me based on that workshop or
The
that
reply.
automation I showed
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
It's just going to add me here, and then what I can do is go ahead and switch this conversation where we've this would have an option to DM them directly on Instagram, because they've messaged on Instagram. Right now this person only has email, and
Yeah.
then we'd head back to, okay, we had that conversation with them and they said they're interested, so I'm going to just move them over this interested column. Then they'll
So
hang out
just
there.
so just by you dragging and dropping, if you have the automation set up, it'll exit them out of the lead slash DM automations and enter them automatically into the automations they're on interested, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
So in this case, like taking the Instagram DM example again, let's say I DM. For me, I if I was moving them to interested, I wouldn't have any automation set up. But if they say, hey, I said, hey, it's closed right now. I'd love to get you in. How about I add you to the wait list? We're opening next week. So they said, great, add me to the wait list. What I could do is have an automation that fires because they're on the wait list. If I drag them here, that is going to say, hey, well, send them an email. Welcome. You're on the wait list. We're going to open in on this date. And I just set that up inside of the same automation workflow builder that we've been talking about.
Okay. Following.
Great. Um, so there's a lot more in these automations that we'll get to, but in order to understand them, first we really need to go into creating our course and our membership first. So if I hit memberships here, then I go to communities. I've put in a couple communities into the snapshot already, just as demo communities, and I'll show you how we can customize those. So if I hit login here, this was created in literally 5 seconds. I haven't done any customization to it. I haven't added anybody to it yet. But
And
this is what.
community is a new feature inside of HighLevel, right? It's
Yeah.
like less than like a month old or something. Yeah.
Yeah, this UI I believe isn't even available to. I mean, it is available, but it's not pushed out by default yet. You have to turn on the beta user interface here.
Okay.
And if you want to do that, you go to settings, by the way. But basically, now that I'm in here, what I can do is, let's say I want to add a channel, and this is like a health coach. We're going to talk maybe like diet, and I can enter like discuss diet and eating here. And then we select an icon if we want and create the
Yeah.
channel. So now we have a diet channel, right? And then this next one, we could do exercise.
Can we do like an introduction one? Tell me where you're from kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And we'll add our trophy there. And then we'll say intros.
Wonder if they have like a microphone icon.
Introduce yourself. We'll do a home,
Okay.
right? And I can drag these up and down. And then what's cool is this home tab. So if I go to intros and I post in the intros, it's going to be there. Diet's going to only be there. Exercise is going to only be there. But if I go to home, all of them will be in the same spot, which is
Interesting.
pretty cool. But, there's more. And what's really cool is we can go to learning as well. And all of our courses can be hosted here too. So I've just put an example workshop here, an example course, and this is like the default image. But if I click into here, then it opens up HighLevel's amazing looking course builder. And I can just click into the workshop, and this is where the video would live and the
So
any
so
links.
all of this is inside of HighLevel. What you're sharing here is the bridge between the community versus the course, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you house your course inside of memberships, whether it's free, paid, doesn't matter. You house it inside of memberships, and then you use the community to kind of bridge access to the course because you have a community. And you
Yeah.
don't have to have a community for every course, but it's one of the most powerful things, I assume.
Yeah. So let me show you. I'll show you like a live example here because that's a little bit more relevant. These are my communities that are live right now. So I've got this learning hub here, and then you see I can hit join a group or take a course, and this is my own domain, which is pretty
Is
cool.
this, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but is
Yeah.
this the view that you get as a creator coach, or is this the view as a student?
As a student, yep. So it's gonna say learning hub, and if you have multiple groups, I can move here to join a group, and then let's show this is my affiliate group. We have 239 people in here right now, and everybody's asking questions. They're getting help, right? And then I can go to learning, and these are the real courses that I have, and they're free in here for anyone that's actually in the community because we only let paid people in. But what I could do is have a free community with a paid upsell course that's just living right here.
Wait, say that one more time. You're saying that I could create a subscription around the community and provide a course for free, or I can do the community for free and charge for the course as well, depending on whichever one you want to do.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Exactly.
Interesting. So how how do I get people to use the community then? Like how do I create the engagement to get people there? Because what this thing is competing with is like a Facebook group or a Discord or a
Mm.
Slack or school and all these other things that are out there now, right?
Yeah. So HighLevel actually builds that right in. So
Okay.
if you get people to join the community, which I have some checkout templates and things like that, if you want to do a paid community, um, then what it does is it sends an email every time somebody is tagged inside of the group. So if you join my affiliate group, you ask a question, and then I respond to you, it'll show up in your email as, hey, welcome
Oh,
to the group. You got tagged in this. Click here, and it'll take you directly to the group.
that makes total sense. Well, I've been getting emails from the certifications community every day, every day. All right,
So that
cool.
makes sense. And then you also get these notifications here. Um, and I can just switch if I just want to see the courses that are available. Here we go. I've got all my courses here.
Interesting. Okay. Is this helpful, you guys? Like, are you getting ideas on this whole thing? Someone say, slow down. Where is this? Okay, so how do we get to communities? Let's go back to agency view for a quick second. How do we get to communities?
Okay.
So you,
So if
so
your
yeah,
agency view here,
so yeah, when you're logging in as an agency admin, this is
mm-hmm.
what you would come across, right?
You click here to switch to whatever sub account you want to switch to.
Okay,
You're going to go memberships on the left hand side, and then communities, and just hit groups here.
interesting. All right. All right, so how do we make money? What do we need to do to
Yeah, yeah.
connect the community
So
and the course and the bridge and all that together?
yeah, so the first thing in my mind that I want to do, and this is what I love about HighLevel versus school or some of the other alternatives out there, is actually create a custom domain like you see here, where it's community.agencydominance.com. That's my normal URL is agencydominance.com, and I can just add this little subdomain here, right?
And
So you don't want to, the default domain here works, but for branding purposes, you want it to look as good as possible. So this is going to be the default thing. At the very minimum, come in here and type in like the name of your community. So for me, it would be like Dominators, let's say like dominators.app.clientclub.net, which is a little bit long. But what I can do instead is click this custom domain button and go into my DNS settings, and with just 2 records here, change it. So I don't want to get too far into the weeds because the DNS stuff can get really overwhelming. But I want to show you how simple this is to just plug this right in. So I have a demo domain here. It's called KeatonWalkerDemo.com. And all I have to do, this is in Cloudflare. You might have maybe like GoDaddy or Namecheap, something like that. You find where these settings are. It's called DNS. You hit add record. And then it's saying I need a CNAME. And this is the value. So I'm going to copy this. Come back here and select CNAME. And that's going to be the target. And then in the name, I just say whatever I want it to be. So for me, it's community.KeatonWalkerDemo.com, right? And then I hit save. And then the next one is an A record with these numbers. Come back in here, add record, A, perfect. And then we say community. And then we hit save. You know what, Paulson? I only had to do one of those.
oh yeah. Yeah.
So
See,
now,
this is a difference between your style and my style. This is where I'm usually like, okay, how much is it? All right, get it done. I don't know how to do this.
yeah. Okay, so I just typed that in, community.KeatonWalkerDemo.com. I hit update. Says it's all updated. So now let's go hit community.KeatonWalkerDemo.com. It's going to take a while to load on its first time. And boom, there you go. Everybody can log
Interesting.
in. That took me literally 2 seconds to set up, right?
Crazy. Okay.
So once
Is
you've
this
got the
in?
domain,
Yeah.
the other thing would be your branding. So what do you want the portal to be called? The description of it. So like Paulson's awesome course would go here. That's loaded to 20 characters. So let's say Paulson's course. And then the description we can write out. And we can select any brand colors we want in here. Yeah. If you already have colors, you can type in the code for that here. And then we can upload an image, like a logo or banner.
And this is for the login page.
This is for everywhere. So this is going to update kind of like you saw on the, like I selected, I go to communities here. Like you see, this is the kind of coloring here.
Oh, got it.
This is the logo one here. So it's going to populate everywhere. And then, but you can also customize, like when I go, let's say to courses here.
Yeah.
And I click on this one, let's say, like this coloring.
Yeah.
The name, the instructor, all that kind of stuff can be put into one spot.
Got it. Okay, let's keep going. What else do we need to learn about automations? This is exciting. I'm actually like intrigued. I wonder if in the future we'll have automations and workflows and triggers off of community interactions and engagement, right? Hey,
yeah,
let me send an email to the 20 people that engage us the most in my community. That'll be cool. Maybe it's already in the pipeline. I don't know. But
yeah.
that'd be pretty insane to get to that kind of granular level of how people are interacting with you. Let's keep going.
Yeah.
So what did you just show us? Was it the community sales or which one was it?
Yeah, so that was, well, just the community here. And then the automation that we showed was this DM trigger here. So let's say we want to start selling this community. first let's check out the page where we're going to sell it, right? So the
Okay.
same example, somebody DM'd us and they said the name of the community. We responded back to them with the info. They said, great, let's do it. I'm just going to come here to my main community and I'm going to grab this checkout page, which, by the way, any of you can swipe and steal if you have this snapshot. And it's just simple. It describes what's going to happen. This is how we're going to do it. Any more bonuses. And we connect this directly to Stripe or PayPal or our other payment processor. And they can just check out directly on here, right? And then the next page will show them, thank you, order confirmed. Looking forward to meet you on our onboarding call. Check your email for community login credentials. So how does this happen? Like the email is already sent. We head back here to automation and we go to community sales. And we can say, okay, here's the order form submission. And in workflows, guys, everything works in terms of a trigger and then an action. So first we need to find how is this actually going to get triggered? And then the action is what happens after this trigger happens. So there's tons of triggers we can do in here. So literally can trigger off of somebody's birthday if they have that saved in there. Or if somebody emails you, somebody replies like we saw before, a form is submitted, opportunities move in this stage of the pipeline.
One of the triggers the team built for myself on the 5-day challenge is an automation for somebody who watches at least 50% or more of all the course videos.
Yeah.
Or less. Because if somebody hasn't watched all of your course, you can trigger off a quick email or an SMS with your voice drop, like, hey man, you haven't watched anything I built. What's going on?
Yeah. I'll show you. We built one of those too, so I'll show you that.
Okay, cool. Awesome. And this is all part of the snapshot you're giving away, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Crazy. All right, keep going.
So and I'll show you another really cool one we'll go over today is an abandoned cart. So let's say somebody decides they're going to start signing up and then they lose, motivation halfway through. You can capture their info and text them and say, hey, what happened here? Do you want to get on a call? Is there any questions I can answer? We'll go over that one soon. But basically we've said, okay, the order form is submitted and it's on this website and it's this submission type, right? So we're going to add a tag to them just to make sure this is good practice that we're keeping everything clean. We're going to grant group access. We select which group we want to add them to, and that automatically sends the welcome email. We create an opportunity and we move them to the client stage of that pipeline. We send a notification to ourselves, which is great. Hey, contact name joined your community. And that's just a good practice to get into. And then we can email them and say, hey, contact first name. This is going to automatically update with their name. Congrats on joining the name of the community. I can't wait to help you. You should have a separate email with your login to the community and resources. If you didn't get it, please let me know and I can add you ASAP. The next step is to schedule your one-on-one onboarding call with myself. Here's the link. See you soon. All from somebody just submitting their payment, right? So pretty cool there. The next thing in terms of sales here would be, let's say somebody schedules their onboarding call for the community. Get this to load.
By the way, HighLevel is usually slower on a browser when you're live streaming on a Zoom.
Yeah.
The system is like ridiculously fast when you're not on a browser streaming, just FYI.
Yeah. So this one's super simple, just like somebody can book using Calendly or TidyCal or one of those other calendar apps. They can book using HighLevel. So we have a calendar that they'll book on, which I'll show you here in a second. And then we're going to confirm and say, thanks for booking your onboarding call. Scheduled for this, say at this time, looking forward to meeting you. and then they can add it to their calendar. They can cancel or reschedule. And then 10 minutes before, just as a quick reminder, we just say, hey, quick reminder of our onboarding call in 10 minutes. See you inside. And that automatically updates with the specific link that you're going to send them, whether it's Google Meet or Zoom link. And then we sign off with our name. So that one's pretty sweet. And I'll show you real quick that calendar. We've got two calendars here, like a sales example and an onboarding example. And I can just copy this scheduling link, or I can even get a one-time link so people can only use it once, or I can embed the entire calendar inside of another software. But this is what it looks like, super clean. They can select it, sign up, and then that automation will trigger based on them having submitted that appointment. So then this is the one you were talking about, Paulson, the engagement help. So I've sort of split this into two, and this is, you'll see another use case for tags here. So let's say I have a course, and I want to make sure they start watching it. Like, as long as they've watched one video, I'm happy, because if they watch one, they're more likely to watch two, right? And finish the course. And so if this happens, then it's going to add a tag that says started watching the course, right? So if that person has that tag, I know I'm good. But if they don't have that tag, then I want to make sure that they're actually getting what they need and they're going through the course. So once they've been granted access to, let's say, a workshop that we did, we'll just go ahead and wait 3 days. That's a reasonable amount of time for them to find some time to watch it. And then it's going to ask, did they start watching the course? And the way we check that is just look at their tags, because we added that simple tag. If their tag includes started watching the course, then we're good to go. We just end the workflow, right? This conditional logic stuff is really powerful. So, but if they don't have that tag, so they haven't started watching the course, we're just going to shoot them a quick email and say, hey, wanted to check in, see how you're doing. I noticed you haven't been into the course content yet. I'm excited for you to. Enrolling in the course will help you, etc. And just kind of encourage them, right? And then we wait another 2 days and we send another email. So pretty slick. And I showed this yesterday, but you can turn on stop on response to any of these workflows, meaning that if somebody responds to that first email, let's say they say, oh, life's just gotten busy, like I'll go watch it. Cool, no problem. Then they're not going to get this second email, which is great. Beautiful. So now I want to show a little bit more on the course side, because this snapshot has a lot of, I sold like a more traditional course, like pretty much all of the last 12 months. And have just recently pivoted to more of a community-based model. And so I have a lot of course resources here. So if I go to these other landing pages and checkouts, this was the checkout template that I made inside of HighLevel for my my main course that I sold, as I mentioned. So this might look a little bit overwhelming when you look at it at first, but with the templates inside of the snapshot, I promise you it's going to be easy to edit. So basically, you just come in here, you insert your eye-catching title and headline, you insert a testimonial you might have, and then you can include bonuses. There's a trust bar here where you can add in where you've been featured potentially. You put in a picture of your course. You show what's in there, some testimonials.
I'm sorry, did you say this was a funnel?
Yeah, so it's basically
Gotcha.
just a one-page website.
Gotcha. Cool.
So
And this
you
is
can
where
come
people
in
would
here
sign up, or this is after they've already signed up?
yeah, so this is where you would this is where you would send them to sign up, but it's a perfect template for them to be able to check out
Gotcha.
everything that they need to know in one spot in order to make the decision, right? So instead of having to build this from scratch, though, you can just go in and edit how, okay, my price is at $9.99. It's $8.99. So I come in here and I change that, right? And then I just hit
Got it.
save, and I can hit this preview button, and that pulls up. Okay, beautiful.
Very cool. Very cool.
So that's one. But let's say, Paulson, you're doing something more like you have a free webinar or a free video or something you're giving away to kind of generate interest. That would this perfect lead gen page would be a good fit for you. So this one, same thing goes. You can change anything you want to in here, but it's this perfect setup designed for conversion in terms of just getting them to fill this out: first name, phone, email, etc. And what I really like about this one that we're able to figure out is you can see it says currently available for March enrollment. There's a cool little custom field here that the minute it turns to April in your time zone, it'll just say currently available in April time for April enrollment, right? Which is it's just one of those little things that really helps with conversion, because people go like, oh, it's now, like it's available now, I'm going to do it.
Yeah. And with the 5-day challenge stuff, we do the timer. Hey, the next we have a live component, and then we have the online course. And the live it doesn't happen all the time. It's sporadic often. So now I'm like, there's a timer. Hey, next live is happening in 3 days. So it's like it converts because of that quite often.
Very cool. I love that. So anyway, there's a few other ones in here. This is a workshop template. So, okay, we're doing a live masterclass. You can check this out. It's more of a simple one.
And you have to have all these different formats in general for a course, right? Like evergreen webinar, a live component, a checkout page, a registration page, learn more page. Like this is all kind of coming together. Keaton, I feel like you're giving away quite a bit, man.
You know me, I like to help people out that help me out. So, HighLevel's been really, really good to me just in terms of being an amazing software, and got to give back. So,
wow,
just making sure that everybody can get started, So
I love that.
This is another example of a course checkout page. And this landing page of maybe like you have a bunch of mini courses, you can add them all in here, right? And super easy to get started. Again, I'm not going to lie to you, there's a learning curve on this this builder here, but at the end of the day, it's one of the most valuable things that you can learn how to do. And basically what it does here is you can see all these different elements here. So we've got a headline, subheadline, paragraph, bullet list, buttons, forms, all of this stuff we can add in. And if you get stuck, I've got a YouTube video on how to use the funnel builder, so you can just go watch that.
That's pretty awesome. And those of you that don't even have HighLevel, there is a link in the comments which basically says gohighlevel.com/Keaton Walker offer. You can jump into a trial or upgrade to the next higher plan, and you can get this entire snapshot that has all these assets pre-built in it. And it'll also, now we're walking through the instructional videos of how to get it all set up, which within like 2-3 clicks, you can just upload all these things into your account if you have a snapshot link, which we'll provide to you as soon as you sign up for a trial or upgrade. Keep going. So we went through, let's see.
And just a note on what Paulson just said. You're not going to be left high and dry as soon as you get this. People who are signing up today with this offer will also get access to my community that I showed you earlier. Yeah. And we come in here, we answer questions directly.
Yeah.
To anybody who has questions about the snapshot or even like strategy-based questions, you can hop in my community here, and I do a call once a month for anybody that's in here. So you can hop in and ask those questions.
Yeah. And by the way, I didn't ask Keaton to give away the farm. He's genuinely doing this out of the goodness of his heart. So Keaton, I appreciate you doing this, man. This is incredible. I think building a course and an educational experience is it's scary. And the biggest thing is not even the content, it's the technology that supports all the content and the code. So
Yeah.
you're literally shaving off like months and months of automation building for someone. And I can vouch for this because I built, multiple courses already inside of HighLevel, even previous to the community features coming out. So this is really cool to see. What else do we need to learn for day two's content that we have planned for today?
Yeah. So I'll show you some other like course sales here stuff. I wanted to show the any of those things that I just showed you, any of these pages. If somebody checks out on them, you can plug them into this automation where they're gonna get access to the course. You add a tag, you update them in the opportunity, and then this is another cool feature of HighLevel. You can send that notification to Slack if that's something you use. So this is what I do personally. If somebody signs up, I make sure it goes to Slack because that alerts my team immediately, and we can make sure, oh, this for some reason the email went to spam. Let's go make sure that they can get access to everything that they need. Um, and that's a good little hack for you there that's built in. But I wanted to show this abandoned checkout one because this is the like the thing I love about most about HighLevel. It's really like choose your own adventure, and as long as you understand the components, you can build something like you can build
Yeah,
pretty much
it's
whatever you want.
it's like Legos. You can build your
Yeah,
own stuff with
yeah.
Legos. There's a lot of colors and sizes and, functions.
You know what they should do is like a challenge where kind of like the mathletes like go you're like, hey, here's, divide this number, whatever the complex math problem is. And we say you have to think of like whoever thinks of the best use case for this trigger and this action wins a prize and do like the HighLevel Olympics and they compete like March Madness. Man, that would be you guys should do that
So,
next year for March Madness.
sounds like you've got a YouTube topic idea there, Keaton.
um I already know who would win that and it's not me.
Well, I wouldn't even bother signing up. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I'll provide the snacks and get out of the way.
Yeah. You can moderate. You do good at that. But the reason this one's so cool is so again, this checkout template that you guys will have, you can change the submission type. And we're saying instead of a sale, this was just an opt-in. So this means they submitted their name, their email, and maybe a couple other details. But then when it came time to put the credit card details in, they ghosted, right? And how do we know they ghosted? Because we can wait 10 minutes. That's if they've taken longer than 10 minutes, it's safe to say they're not going to check out right now. So if they've submitted their info and it's been 10 minutes and there's no purchase tag, we just build that in as a redundancy. They haven't purchased a course. Then what we're going to do is add a tag that say, hey, they abandoned checkout, and then send them an email and say, hey, we're saving a spot for you. Real quick, I noticed you were partway through registering for this course, but didn't finish. This is a note to let you know we've got a spot for you. Click here to check out. And then we can even send them a text as well. Hey, saw you're interested in purchasing the course. Any questions I can answer for you? Because maybe it's just a simple thing. They're like, oh, I was wondering about this. And they're still reading through your FAQ. You can just answer it real quick and get on the way. Where they respond, they say, hey, can you call me? You give them a 5-minute call and you push a sale over the edge that you never would have otherwise. If they don't reply within a day, then we'll continue to send them stuff. Mine's pretty simple here, but you could add in a month's worth of follow-ups for these people because they're pretty serious. But for some reason, at the very last second, they decided not to move forward. And so figuring that out is super great.
And you can do videos, you can do voice drops, you can do WhatsApp messages, you can do a ton messengers, social messages, obviously emails, live chats, I mean,
Yep.
and more. GMB message, that's true.
Yeah. So wherever they've messaged you, you can message them back on that. Or
Yeah.
try other platforms like Paul
Yeah.
was saying.
And people are asking, okay, Kian, you're giving away a lot. How do we get this? I'm just going to keep it simple. Go to the offer link if you don't have a HighLevel account just yet, or upgrade to the next higher plan if you already have an account. Now, if you're already on the highest plan of high level, day three will give you all the resources at no cost. We'll just get it all fixed and ready for you so you can just literally have the snapshots, but you do have to be on the highest plan to just receive everything. And someone in the comments, Jennifer said, shut up. And I think what she means is like, shut up, no way. We're giving giving all this away. At first when I looked at it, I was like, oh no, we gotta keep it quiet. But I think they're excited. Thank you,
Love it.
Keaton. All
Yes,
right,
sir. And
so
just to, I don't want this to be like too much of a, like we're talking this up too much, but really this is what I give to people who sign up today to get this. You get monthly group calls, you get even more snapshots than this one that I'm giving away. And you get courses to really understand the basis of high level, because it can be a complex thing to get started with. Just understanding the whole thing. Obviously, the snapshot's giving you a big jump start, but when you understand just how versatile it is and how many things you can do with it, the world's your oyster. And so that's what I'm really trying to teach here in these courses. So again, it's not just like, hey, you get this and you don't get help. We're going to help you along the way to implement everything.
yeah, and those of you that might have signed up for a trial yesterday or even earlier today, you probably haven't received anything. Just bear with us. We'll make sure you get everything. Like we're not gonna ever leave you hanging. Just no matter what happens, we'll make sure you get
Yes.
everything you need.
And
Okay.
if for some reason that doesn't come through, follow up. Like I literally posted yesterday, Paulson, I'm never going to intentionally withhold bonuses that were promised. That's never my intention. Sometimes things go to spam, weird stuff happens, the emails, gets lost in cyberspace.
Yeah.
Just follow up with me and I'll make sure that it happens.
Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely. So quick question for you. These are
Awesome.
automations around the course and the community.
Mm-hmm.
This is completely outside of your regular automations of educating, priming up your prospects and leads, the marketing side. I know we shared a little bit about marketing this more earlier on the call.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any automations around marketing in general, like that are just like, here are snippets, maybe like a weekly newsletter or something like that that you do, or anything else that you do to just kind of keep people around your ecosystem?
Yeah. So, something that is not here in the automation builder, but that's super relevant for everybody on here, is going to be inside of this marketing section here, and it's the social planner. So
Okay.
you want to post on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, X, and TikTok from one spot. You've got it included in your literal 97 a month subscription, which is, a software that just does that is going to cost about that. So you can connect those and then automatically post across all of those platforms. That's my main method of marketing. And then once they've come to me and like I have like a free course, I have some other lead magnets, so to speak, that people can submit their info for. Then they would get added to one of these automations, like this one, the email campaign, which we went over yesterday, but we'll recap here real quick. And basically, I can, again, it's choose your own adventure. How can what's going to trigger this? Let's say it's a form submitted, and then I can choose what form it is. Okay. Let's say it's in that lead, perfect lead generation template I showed you. So that'll be here. And then we'll send them this first email. Hey, I'm doing this. Just wanted to let you know, if you want to get in, you can reply skip. We wait a day, we send the next one. So email sequences are so important for coaches. And what's amazing is we can literally send everything just right here through HighLevel. So they opt in, we send them the email sequence. And then what I do in terms of a newsletter is I send an email daily-ish, but I like to keep those not like, I like to keep them fresh as to like what's currently happening. So for example, like when my wife was pregnant, we went in for our like halfway ultrasound. And what I thought was super cool, I think you'll love this story, Paulson. They took tons of pictures and videos of the baby, right? And it's super fun. If anyone's ever been to the 20-week ultrasound, you know what I'm talking about. Like, you're finally getting to see the baby that's been causing like so much havoc in your life. And it wasn't even like 3 minutes after we walked outside of the hospital, we had a text with all of the images and the videos and everything. I'm like, oh, I'm to send it to my family. I was so excited. And that experience was so like happy for me that I decided to write an email on it the next day to my list. And I said, hey, this is what happened. By the way, there's this really cool software, HighLevel, that can do the exact same thing that they did. I'm sure this hospital probably wasn't using HighLevel, but if you have a similar situation where you want to deliver something quickly and you want it to be automated, HighLevel can set that up. And so it tends to be more powerful when you use your personal stories and you just send those in the moment of when they happen, versus having everything be over automated, which you alluded to before. So what I do for sending emails, I just come here to campaigns and I just hit create campaign. I can choose it. I don't have any templates in here, but let's say I choose a blank template here, which basically is what I do every time. I'll just like drag some text in here and I can get rid of this heading because I don't need it. I'll just be like, hey, I went in for my son's 20-week ultrasound, right? And I can just write this whole thing, hit save, and then I can either save it for later if I need to come back and edit it. What's really cool is I can A/B test. So if I want to test the subject line or the content of the email, I can test those. And then I can hit send or schedule, decide who it's coming from, send it to a specific people with specific tags like we were talking about earlier. And I can choose to set it now or schedule it out. So there's a lot of automation, like the workflow builder is where most of the automations in HighLevel live, but the automation doesn't stop there. It's everywhere.
That's pretty brilliant. Now I'm realizing why people love your YouTube videos. You're so thorough and detailed with this, and I'm like, I don't feel too intimidated if I had kind of followed your steps if I were actually building this out, which quite often HighLevel scares me because I'm not an automations person, right? But learned a lot of new details that I haven't seen before. So Keaton, what else should we have in place to launch a course, a community? Because I mean, ultimately, that's what this workshop is about. As a
Yeah.
coach, like what else is on your mind when it comes to automations that we can cover today?
So basically the only thing I haven't shown in here yet is the course builder itself and how that works. So I've put like 2 dummy courses in here. But what's really cool here is, first of all, the dashboard. You can see how many opt-ins you've had, how many sales. This is literally like just this courses part is an entire software inside of HighLevel. The fact that you can see all of these this data right here is pretty amazing. But let's say I come here to product and we're building Paulson's awesome course. I have this one created already, but I'll show you just how simple it is. First of all, we can start from scratch, or we can import from Kajabi if that's something that we're like transferring over from, and the entire course will just get put right into HighLevel, which is absolutely insane. But I'll hit start here, and let's say I'm doing a marathon course. This is like my flagship course with a ton of info. The way this breaks down is we've got like the individual structures, we've got the individual lessons underneath each structure, or main concept, if you will. And then what we can do is customize what it looks like inside. So we can do the classic one. We can do the New York template here, which if I apply this, you'll see kind of what it looks like, where they've got the course here, and then they can click through, versus the other themes there look a little bit different. As you see, this one's more like a teachable-esque one, I would say, with the
And this is all inside of HighLevel.
yeah. So you can choose which which, if you have a favorite course builder like Teachable, Thinkific, you'd probably use this one. If you like Kajabi, there's one that looks like that. Um, or the New York one is pretty unique, I think, maybe to HighLevel as far as I know. But anyway, it's like I come into this marathon course. What I do is hit this, and then all I do is I upload my new video file, and then I can customize what's in here in the body. Um, and then I just hit save, and I go to the next one. And this is exactly how I build my course inside of HighLevel.
Yeah, what about like homeworks and attachments and PDFs and files and stuff like
Yeah.
because okay.
So let's say I want to add a, well, first of all, I can add a subcategory underneath the main category. So let's say this is the introduction and this is our like housekeeping section. Like, okay, just some stuff we need to take care of. It's kind of like a subsection under there. You can
Oh,
see.
interesting,
And
interesting.
then I
Yeah.
can drag this underneath there. That looks great. So let's say we want to do this. Um, I will add, sorry, I think what I need to do actually is add this, and instead of a lesson, I add an assessment. So let's say we're testing their knowledge on
Certification, whatever.
yeah, certification, whatever. And we can say this is an assignment or a quiz. So the quiz obviously would be testing the info. The assignment would be, um, hey, here's something you need to do. And we can just determine whether it's graded or ungraded. People can upload. We can upload
Yeah.
a template, and then they can upload their assignment here, and then we can go check their work, which is
Yeah.
really cool.
And is there a way to create automations around assessments or quizzes? Because like I'm like one of
Yeah.
those students that never did the homework.
Yeah. So let's take a look at the
Well, I
all of
had
the
my
stuff when
I
it
paid
comes to
my brother.
courses.
Yeah, I often paid my brother to do the homework if
Oh,
at
okay.
best.
It's a miracle Paulson's made it this far, everyone.
Oh man, I'm telling you.
um, he has an MBA, we promised. Um,
Yeah, don't know
yeah.
how we
So on
got there.
the courses here, you can see this the on the trigger side. Oh, sorry, this is the action side. On the trigger side, if we scroll down to courses, we can trigger off of any of these. So category started, category completed, lesson started, lesson completed. So those are the categories we're looking at before the whole thing. A new sign up, um, product
What, uh,
started, product completed,
what
etc.
is an offer? What do you mean by offer? What's an offer access versus offer access removed?
Yeah. So an offer, it's kind of a quirk of the way most course builders are created or flow. And so if I come into um, courses here, I go to offers. I already have them created for you in the snapshot. But basically, what the offer is you could combine, you could do a bundle, or you could do a single course. And that's kind of the reason that they create it that way, so that you have flexibility. So if I come in here right now, I have my course offer, which is $997, and my workshop offer, which is $100. But if I create another offer and I do bundle, for example, I can select my workshop, my marathon course, and my course, and let's say sell everything for 1,400 total, right? Um, so it'll and then I'll have to plug this into the actual checkout page.
Interesting,
I hit
got it.
create, and this is I can easily get a link. I can preview what the page looks like, and these are like pre-built landing pages specifically for.
Oh no. I was
Thanks
just
for
reading the
thinking.
I was just reading the browser. But you know what's interesting is
Yeah.
it all talks to each other, right? Like the
Mm-hmm.
membership area, the communities, the payment systems, the access to the course,
Yeah.
and the automations are kind of firing off on its own based on activity of these students. Like
Mm-hmm.
how helpful is it when they're all talking to each other? Help us understand from a creator standpoint, like how is your day to day then as a coach once you have all these things built out?
Yeah. So before HighLevel, there's apps like Zapier or Pabbly or Make are examples. and they rely on connecting, like their whole business is just connecting other softwares, right? And I've been in marketing for 5 years, and I can tell you, like, literally promise with my arm to the square, if you require me to, that it's just a matter of time before what Zapier breaks. Like, it's just a matter of time before the automation you set up to have this software to communicate to this software breaks. Which isn't a big deal until maybe you have a big launch, or somebody comes on board and they need something quickly and the automation's broken, so you have to go back and fix it. And when you instead have everything in one spot, the time it saves you, A, having to fix broken automations, but B, not even having to like go, okay, I'm here in Kajabi. Now I'm going to go to Zapier and I'm going to Kajabi I'm going to Zapier over my constant contact or my MailChimp email subscribers to my Kajabi account, because if they purchase, then they have to go there. But I actually also wanted this other landing page software because I like it better than the way the Kajabi ones work. And then you're trying to get them all to communicate to each other. You're switching between so many tabs, first of all, and then the reliability factor is a huge drag when you've got that going on. And so to me, it's just a fact of like, I can save so much time just having Zapier essentially and 15 different apps inside of this workflow.
Got it.
Just here.
Yeah. Yeah, I call that the nausea strategy. Until you get nausea from it, you won't move and migrate.
Yeah.
But that's what we did in like 2015 to 19, back even when I had my agency. We were like duct taping like 5 different softwares, creating client portals for
Yeah,
clients to log
exactly.
into, and reporting and all these things, where lead nurturing reporting was like the big thing. Now it seems like we have a consolidated system where everything is in one place. You just trigger off of workflows of how they communicate with each other.
Yeah.
So
And the
I
beauty,
yeah, go ahead, go
sorry,
ahead.
real quick, Paulson, the beauty for any of you who have a system that like like for example, I'm working with a dentist and a chiropractor right now in my coaching and my consultancy, right? And both of them are wanting to build out a system that works for them, and then just copy that system and work with other dentists and other chiropractors in order to help them. And so that's the other beauty of HighLevel is you've got on the very lowest plan, you have 3 accounts where you can build whatever you want. So 3 sub accounts, right? And then up from there, you have unlimited sub accounts. So if there's something you build that's like a proprietary system, similar to the snapshot I'm giving you guys, you can just roll that out to every single one of your sub accounts and collect a monthly fee for them being able to use the software. HighLevel's designed
Yeah.
for that white label.
Yeah, we often hear about, obviously the white labeling is pretty popular, but we're starting to hear a lot about franchising and licensing of IP,
Yeah.
right? And I don't think we even intentionally meant to do that, but
No.
because like snapshots are like a big thing,
Yeah.
one business owner is like, well, I've got everything completely automated, and I know Joe Schmo on the other side of town has nothing automated. I can sell my IP to him, even though I'm not franchising. I can just license my automations to him or her. And it's something that we're seeing more often than not. So what you're building and what Keaton's providing to you, it's like way ahead of the curve compared to most people out there.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm seeing a similar trend, Paulson. It's not just the agency owners or the people doing SaaS. It's like, hey, I have some sort of business where I have people under me or like associated with me. For example, like a loan officer has some loan officers underneath him, and they can sign up for HighLevel and have 10 sub accounts for each one of their loan officers, but be able to toggle through and see everything in one spot without everybody having to share their contacts. But if there is one contact that wants to copy over,
yeah.
good news, it can live inside the same system. Pretty
Yeah,
sweet.
and yeah, this is starting to be really popular. I had some of my family members in Dallas. They are in
Mhm.
the early stages of franchising. I don't want to mention any names, but and they're going with this parent franchise, and what they got is like this big white folder, 3-ring binder with like stacks and stacks of printouts. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. That's what you get for $500,000 these days to franchise? I'm like, what about like marketing assets? What about automations? What about like sales strategies? And
Yeah.
it's crazy. I mean, that's anyways, I'm gonna get off my soapbox around it. Automations have a lot of power behind it. What else do we need to learn for day two before we do Q&A? I know we powered through a lot of content, brought a lot of clarity to a lot of people around, high level in general. What else do we need to know about automations?
Um, I would say you alluded to it before, but a lot of people want to come in and I've kept the snapshot intentionally simple yet powerful because over automating things is a really easy way to shoot yourself in the foot. I posted something in the high level Facebook group about a month ago where I said, hey, if you're buying somebody's super fancy snapshot that's got 72 million things that it's going to do for you, unless you're an advanced user, I promise you, you're going to be just going back and simplifying that thing in 2 weeks' time because you're going to have a little bit of anxiety that like this isn't set up the way that I need to. I also want to promise you that it's worth the investment in time to figure out how to use it yourself because if you're anything like me, it's when you're laying in bed, right about to go to sleep, and you're like, dang, that would be a cool idea. And knowing that you have the tool at your disposal to build that automation is like it's like I don't even know how to code, but I assume this is how programmers feel. They're like, oh, I want to automate this thing, and it's 5 different apps talking to each other. I can just build it. That's how high level feels to me, but I'm not a tech person, you know. And so it's worth investing the time and energy into um, building some simple version one assets for yourself. And even I tell people, take my snapshot, take another sub account and build it all from scratch so that you know all the steps that are required because it's just a matter of time before something that you got in a snapshot comes to you and bites you in the butt because it has somebody else's name in it or some languaging that you didn't think. So it's not a like click and deploy right away. You still need to quality assurance all this stuff. And I say to everybody that joins any of my coaching programs, start with version one, which is simple for anyone to understand, and then move on from there.
Absolutely. And I've been here long enough to tell you that high level could be pretty intimidating in the beginning, and it's because the platform is very wide, right? Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of features that are relevant to so many different types of not even agencies or marketers anymore, but like really all digital citizens. We see e-commerce, we see influencers, bloggers, coaches, consultants, small business owners, authors, speakers, I mean, designers, I mean, you name it. Every type of digital citizen is now looking at high level as a solution or an operating system in a sense where
Yeah.
they can build their own CRM solutions to their clients, right? So we're seeing all kinds of things like that. So it's okay if it takes you a couple of months or weeks to kind of really understand all aspects of high level. That's why you got to check out guys like Keaton, who kind of simplifies what's relevant to you in the journey that you're at. Um, Keaton, what else? What else do we need to cover day two before we go into what we're going to cover day three tomorrow?
That was it. Yeah, I just wanted to make
Okay.
sure we showed the community the courses
Okay.
and the automations, and we did it.
Okay, awesome. Do you guys want us to do a quick Q&A? Do you have questions that are just like urging that you kind of have to get clarity around? If so, give me a yes in the chat. If not, what we will do is kind of go over everything we're going to share about day three. Let's see here. I see people asking about, Jennifer says yes. Okay, cool. Mobile. Great, great point. Somebody had also asked us about that. Before we do Q&A, help us understand the mobile experience, Keaton, on education, building courses, communities. I
Yeah.
know that's a huge part of it. Running ads now, 80% of traffic is, from what I know, is in mobile as well.
Yeah.
So like, help us understand the mobile piece of building a coaching program, course, community.
Yeah. So this is actually really relevant because I just made a video last month on comparing HighLevel to all the other like course creation platforms out there. And there's only one that has HighLevel beat in terms of a mobile experience, and it's only on the learning level. And HighLevel's about to release a learning platform on mobile, so they're quickly going to surpass them. So basically, the way that most of these work is you've got a desktop app where you can build, and like the admin experience, right? I can build the automations, I can send the emails, and then you've got the user app, which is on
The
desktop
student side,
or on
yeah.
mobile, right? And on the student side or the learner side, right now for courses, there's a what's called a progressive web app. Sounds like a big word. It's just basically a link that looks like an app on your like main homepage on your screen, right? Super easy to set up, and they can log into it as if it is an app. What's coming out really soon is a combined app that has communities and courses in the same app. So you'll be able to message back and forth in communities, you'll be able to access your courses, and it's going to be like a real iOS and Android app. In addition to that, there's another mobile app where you can manage conversations from your phone. That's the main thing. You're not going to be able to build an automation on mobile. You wouldn't want to. But you can, like, all of my Instagram DMs coming in there, all my texts come in there, etc. And if I have a free second, I can respond to somebody really quick through that. And there's also a few other. I'm working on a YouTube video that's the ultimate guide to the mobile app. But the current experience is great for courses, and it's just getting better, to answer your question.
Got it. And then there's a few people asking, how do we get some of those features? Do you mind sharing your screen, Ken, and walking through Labs real quick? Because I know
Yeah.
Labs is like where you can turn on and off beta features
Yeah.
that HighLevel is launching. Because that's kind of where I had somebody tell me, man, the first thing I do in the morning is look at HighLevel's notifications because I'm like, I want to know what's out. Um,
Yeah.
but
And
like, can you?
I'm working on a YouTube series where we're going to recap the month. So it's like, hey, in February there were
Nice.
72 changes. Here's what they were. Because there's no, like, there is a place to see them all in one spot, but there's not a
Yeah.
video place yet. And so I'm hoping
Yeah.
to be that person.
And and for those of you that are brand new to HighLevel, you've never seen or been part of any of these things, like we're a very product heavy company. We
Mm.
lead by product. We're like 85, 90% product. Everything else is 10%. So like our focus is to get feedback from you all as digital citizens and tell us what features need to be revamped or rebuilt or introduced. We literally go build that out in like a week or so. That's kind of our style. So therefore, the community is the actual developer of our platform. It's literally your feedback that we develop with hundreds and hundreds of engineers every single week. Sean coming at you live every single week, Monday through Sunday. It's the
That's funny.
style. So yeah,
Um,
so how did you get to labs? It looks like you're in the
yeah. So
snapshot. Okay.
there's an agency level one, and there's a sub account one. So if you're in your sub account, you go to settings on the bottom here, and then you hit labs. You can
Okay.
see what's coming out, and they'll automatically go live in this many days. But if you want them on now, you can turn them on. Um, and then also you can do this on the agency level. So if I switch here, go to settings, you'll
Oh,
see
so
labs
each
here as
sub
well.
account can turn it on if they're an admin of the sub account, which is basically a location, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So
And then the
the
parent
one
account.
in agency will be a little bit. These will only be agency features, but you have to go to
Oh,
toggle them on for the individual sub accounts.
got it. Okay. So like snapshots, new push modal is going to be live, I guess, tomorrow.
Yeah, look at that.
Crazy. Okay.
Beautiful.
Got it. And so you can just
That's
toggle.
fun.
What's the importance of toggling that on or off? Like, because if you have it on, then everybody that's
Basically,
using your
you get the
platform will see it.
updates. Yeah, you get the updates that are coming anyway a little bit sooner.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, someone just said, "Hey, I would love to see a buy now, pay later update soon." It's already out, but not 100% yet. So Now somebody said that in the workshop. We'll throw that into the ideas board and let the developers know, hey, this is something that's interested. Make sure enough marketers want it, and then we go build it out. That's literally how we do it.
Yeah.
Okay, what else? What else do we need to cover on day two? I know we're almost short on time. Before we maybe do a few minutes of Q&A.
Yeah. Someone said gamification. I just want to show you that yes, there's already gamification. So I can come here to leaderboard and this is built in. So you can see the people in my group and you could set levels of like what happens at each level here. And so this is version one of gamification, but it's always going to get better.
And it says add rewards. What does that mean on the left corner?
Yeah. So this would be like, okay, on the level one, you could name this like for me in the guild, you could be like, I don't know, like a sword
The
master.
guild commander.
Yeah. Sword master, right? Like the just beginner, right? So I could save that and then I could call all of these something fancy. And then each reward, I could add a reward. So like free, let's say they get a free coaching call. And I could attach
Oh,
that to level
yeah,
9, let's say. And that encourages them to go help all the other people inside of the group so that they can
got it. Yeah, see, I would be interested in adding this to like a direct mail piece where they get a t-shirt or collaterals or, a bunch
smart.
of like, because when somebody comes into a course, I want to just floor them with a ton of branded stuff. That's usually like the first step. But ton of things we cover, man. I can't believe how much clarity you even brought for me. And I see these sessions all the time. So that was really cool. Let's do a quick Q&A for those of you that are still watching. Um,
Great.
Type in the word question or Q so that way I can differentiate between comments or just feedback versus actual questions. And let's rapid fire real quick. And real quick, can you talk about the offer just so everybody understands what they get when they sign up for a new trial or upgrade?
Yeah. So it's going to be um, gohighlevel.com/ Keaton Walker offer. And I'll share my screen and show you what's on that page. So
Awesome.
you're gonna get that whole snapshot we walked through today. If you missed part of this or all of this session, the replay is going to be available immediately on YouTube, the HighLevel YouTube channel. So you can watch and see a little bit more of what's in the snapshot. But all you have to do is start an extended free trial, which is a 30 days, longer than the normal 14 days. And by the way, that's for the 97 plan. This is not available anywhere else. The 30-day trial on a 97 plan, and or you can upgrade to the next level here. And in addition to that, what I'm throwing in is the everything you see on here. So I have a monthly group call with anybody that signs up. You get answers from my team inside of the community. You get my best snapshots, not just the one we had today. I have a software website. I have sales stuff. I have client result stuff if you're an agency, or you deliver those kinds of services. And then I also have 2 amazing courses that you can get along with that as well. So that's the whole
Awesome.
offer.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Let me rapid fire with you. We're down to like 2 minutes, so let me just rapid
Yeah,
fire if you don't mind.
let's do
Um,
it.
can I sell GHL to other parts of the world outside of America?
100%.
Um, let's see. What level do I need to be at for agency features and have this level of access?
So 95% of HighLevel's features are available on the 97 plan. That's where I recommend everyone start. You don't really need to be like, if you don't have a ton of customers, if you have less than 3 customers, then you don't need anything above the 97 plan just yet. What's really nice about 297 and 497 is the ability to scale in terms of selling to lots and lots of people. But I recommend save your money at the beginning, get the stuff built out, and then as soon as you need you need your 4th sub account, move to 297, and as soon as you need to sell SaaS directly, then you move to 497.
Love it. Mark's asking, what's your decision point on making a new sub account or just keeping it all in your main account?
Um, if it's a different business, sometimes location wise, like you can do multiple locations like that. But for me, I if I have a separate business, like I'm partnering with them, and we're using a sub account for that, it'd be in a separate sub account.
Okay.
But yeah,
Yeah. And then sometimes, just so you know, some businesses divide up departments with sub accounts. Like we had a sub account for the sales department or affiliate department or marketing department or content department, or maybe you're doing a course type of education thing. Maybe you have a separate sub account for all your educational efforts
yeah,
versus your services or agency. So there are a few different ways to look at it. Cecilia is asking, still wondering how he gets the DM inside of Instagram to
oh
talk
yeah,
to GHL. What's happening behind that DM?
yeah. So there's an integrations tab that you can plug all sorts of stuff into.
Do you want to share your screen?
Yeah, I'm just pulling it up here.
Okay. And this is
So
in, I guess, the agency view.
no, this is the sub account,
Okay.
and so I you can collect. Nobody steal my AdWords account, please. Um, but I've connected my Facebook and Instagram here, and then these are all the other things I can connect as well. So if like
Okay.
you're running TikTok ads, for example, the TikTok lead ads will come in here. Same with LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Um,
And by the way, if you go to developers.gohighlevel.com, there are hundreds of integrations from
yeah,
third-party integrations that are industry specific that you could even bring in on top of these, just FYI.
yeah. And I saw someone asking, "Where's the best place to vault your course content?" You're just going to create a product, and as you do, actually everything gets
Vaulted.
vaulted automatically. But
Yeah.
then you can like let's say I wanted to take this. This was actually super handy recently.
Yeah.
I have this course with like so like over 200 videos, and I needed to like make another version of it, and literally all I had to do was come in here and click clone, and it cloned all 200 videos
Yeah.
in like 10 minutes. So
Yeah.
that was amazing.
And by the way, I had somebody ask me at our mastermind, "Hey, Paulson, I know everything's unlimited inside of High Level. What if I have a course with hundreds of hours? Is there like a video usage thing that I'm gonna get hit with later?" And I'm like, promise you, that's not an issue. It is gonna stay unlimited. You don't have anything to worry about. People load up channels of hours and hours worth of content, which we're totally cool with. Is that your experience as well, Keaton?
100%. Yeah, I was at that mastermind and I overheard that conversation.
Oh
And
yeah,
it's someone that has been hit. He said he was really concerned about starting on High Level because I think it was Wistia it wasn't Wistia, it was Vimeo. He had was
you
on
were there.
Vimeo's highest plan, which by the way is like more expensive than High Level,
Yeah, yeah.
and it only does video hosting. And they said, "Hey, we're hitting you with fair use because you have way too much on here." And they made it. He was paying like thousands of dollars a month just for video hosting.
Yeah, and this was like a really big influencer in Asia, and he had
Yeah,
massive education program. He
yeah,
literally flew in to Dallas to ask that question.
yeah,
That was the it was crazy. I was like, wait,
yeah,
this guy is here? We didn't even know he bought a ticket. It was insane. But
yeah, yeah.
great thought. Okay, keep going. Um, question, can you do a trial for communities in the same way as a course?
Um, not actually sure.
Well, you can
I,
turn
yeah,
it from free to paid, but I don't know if
yeah.
you can
But
do it.
as far as like a free trial, I'm gonna say yes. I'm not like the amazing tech guy, but I promise you, there's someone that could do that. Um, it may not be like a direct high level feature, but there's a way to build it with the workflow.
It might be a delayed payment
Yeah,
at the end
yeah.
of the
So
day.
they sign out. It's like, hey, yeah, that would probably be exactly what it is. Like you just set it up in Stripe as 7-day free trial. They submit their credit card info, they get access, and then 7 days later they get
Yeah.
charged.
And Keen, I think you can stop saying you're not an amazing tech guy. You're far better than I am. A whole lot more thorough than I am, and this is fantastic, just FYI. Okay, how do you connect to Facebook for your automations? Back to the integrations, just like how we answer that question on
Yeah. You
Instagram,
literally
same
just
way.
hit it as long as you're logged into Facebook, it'll prompt you.
Yeah.
click like
Someone's
3 buttons and you're in.
Yeah, so someone's asking, where do you host the videos? It's built inside of HighLevel. When you go create a product, you can load up hundreds of hours of videos and it just stays inside of HighLevel. You wouldn't even need Vimeo or YouTube or anything to relink back into the experience.
Yeah.
So someone says, so upgrade on your link and we get all your stuff? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Um, let's see. Larry's asking, Paulson, will you ever have a SaaS configurator and overview in the future? The best way to sell that service. Yes, we do have workshops around SaaS and SaaS-oriented programs, and we go over the SaaS configurator, which is basically a feature system we have that allows you to take high-level features and create a subscription around it. Um, do you want us to go over it? Keaton, do you want to go over SaaS configurator real quick? Because I mean,
Yeah.
maybe some of the coaches may use it
Yeah.
as a SaaS. Okay, cool. Thank you, Larry, for that question. So let's take a few minutes to go over the configurator. And this is only part of the 497 Pro plan.
Yeah, exactly. So what you can do here is you can add up to 20 prices. I would recommend having 20, but you can't. And you can just call the plan whatever you want. So let's say this is like my professional plan. I add a description and I hit next. It's going to be USD. And it looks like I already have one called professional, but we'll see if it lets me save it. I can decide what price I'm selling it at for monthly and annual. I can even do it based on users or contact limits. And then I can decide which features are included. This is where this gets absolutely like
Insane.
amazing for me. Because I can literally just say, all I want, let's say I want to be a school competitor and I want to offer memberships to everyone, but I want a little bit more than what school has. I can do funnels and memberships. There you go. You have the entire, you've already beat school. And you all you have to pay is HighLevel's monthly fee, not to, you don't have to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to developers to build it.
You mean to
And so
tell me you can function like a software company using this? Is that what you're telling me, Mr. Walker?
it is. It is.
Wow.
Um,
That's the SaaSpreneur movement.
yes, exactly. So I decide what I want on here, and I can deselect or select, and then I can decide the trial period. I can add a credit for like email and SMS fees when they come on board.
And you
And
can
then,
rebill and make more money, right? Oh yeah, there it is. Yeah.
yeah. So sending texts and emails is not free for HighLevel, and therefore it's not free for us. But what they do is they're very benevolent because they get big discounts because they have so much volume. They give us a little bit of a discount, and then they also allow us to resell it to our customers. So it's truly like we don't have to have any extra fees above the amount that we're paying.
Yeah.
And that's on the 297
Yeah.
plan and above is
Let's
possible.
yeah, let's pause for a second. This piece right here is where hundreds and hundreds of CRM platforms monetize. They take the house fee and they'll charge the user you $25 for 10 credits. And then you start using the platform, you're like 4K into paying for SMS, which ultimately is not that expensive, but it's just like they're keeping the rebilling. And I don't want to mention any names and be the bad guy, but
Mm-hmm.
all I'm saying is we're the nice guys, giving you the full freedom to completely create your own revenue. Matter of fact, Larry, we get a lot of SaaSpreneurs who their main primary income comes from rebilling more than the subscription because they go out there to the market, sell by license, users, locations, franchises. I'm gonna get off my soapbox. This is gonna get me all passionate. Let's move to the next question.
Yeah, so you can upgrade how much you want to recharge people. And then the one thing I missed back here that I want to mention, you can add a snapshot for this particular
Oh,
level.
so
Which
your own IP, your own sales messages, your own
yeah.
marketing, your own mumbo jumbo. Yeah,
Yeah, you sell to martial arts studios, they've got all the martial arts automations they need immediately after signing up.
got it.
And we talked, if you guys missed yesterday's, we talked about taking your coaching offer and layering on some SaaS to it or some done for you services. So go watch that because that's a really powerful combo with HighLevel.
Okay. So, Keaton, let's stop there. There's a few more questions that I'm seeing. If you get a chance, if you don't mind going back through and kind of answering on comments whenever you can. What are we going to cover tomorrow? I feel like
Yeah.
day two was quite a bit, but very informative. If you enjoyed today, can you give us a yes in the chat? And Keaton is giving away the farm mule. I'm telling you. This is really interesting. I mean, I don't know what else I need if I'm starting a program on education. So hopefully that's going to help you all. But Keaton, what are we going to cover tomorrow? What's day three going to be like?
Yeah.
Tomorrow's the last day. That's crazy. Time flew by.
It does fly. So we're talking about like getting more sales and actually building your community, basically. So we're gonna do what I call the customers to clients framework. And that's sort of like an hey, we sell something small to then get somebody to upgrade to something big. So that's all I'll say for now. And there's automations that we didn't go over today that will help you with that inside of the snapshot. And then here, elevate the adoption or retention of your course and community. So a really big problem in anything is churn, and HighLevel is the ultimate tool to help us stop churn. So we're going to go over some HighLevel features that will help us with that, but then also just some general framing things that we can do to keep our coaching clients for as long as possible.
Awesome. And Keaton, man, let me tell you something. You should be very proud of today. This was one of the most thorough walkthroughs of HighLevel I've ever seen. So, congrats to you. We got one more day of content to deliver. It's going to be sales heavy, it's going to be conversion heavy, where we're trying to focus on taking prospects to customers or slash students. So, stay excited. Those of you that signed up for all the trials, upgrades, congrats. We're going to make sure you get everything that's promised and more. Tomorrow we'll release the snapshots to all of you that are on the highest plan of HighLevel, because if you're already on the highest plan, you typically cannot upgrade any further because that's it. 497 is the highest plan. So we'll make sure we send and provide all the details and resources over to you. Kid, thank you, man. Exciting day two and so much more to cover on day three.
Beautiful day too. Thanks, man. Thanks everyone
All
for
right.
being here. I'll have my team try to get back to those comments.
I appreciate it. Take care, everybody.
Bye.